Oh, hi, you're listening to Service from Hell, a podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky few that got out and all of the good, bad, and infinitely irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and am uniquely qualified to discuss this, as I used to work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles, and at least one of you listening right now has probably grabbed me and told me you were ready to order when I was running around like a crazy person. So, let's eat! I'd like to welcome our guest, New York-based comic Caitlin Peluffo. Caitlin has been seen on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and The Late Late Show with James Corden, and has been featured on Comedy Central. She performs regularly at the world-famous Comedy Cellar, which is the dopest spot in New York, and has opened for comedians like Fortune Feimster, Mateo Lane, Maria Bamford, and Brian Regan, to just name a few. Caitlin is here to promote her upcoming album, Dirty Bird, which is her debut album and is out everywhere on March 8th of this year. However, pre-order is now happening and you get some extra goodies, so you should pre-order now because it feels good and that helps them. This album is a culmination of her 10-year career, which is a blip for comedians. I better know Caitlin from meeting her right now in real time as we are chatting. So Caitlin, do you miss San Francisco? Why is the album called Dirty Bird? Do you love New York audiences? Tell us.
Hi, Kate. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here. First off, the album is called Dirty Bird because I am disgusting. I'm a little gross. I'm a little bit of a nasty gal. So one of my jokes near the end is about being a dirty bird because I have HPV. Woo! Who doesn't? So you'll have to listen to find out. But it's very fun. I'm originally from San Francisco. I only miss the people in it. The city is lovely. I do love to visit the city, but I'm a New York gal through and through. I love New York. I love the audiences. And they're a little bit more, I would say, game. They kind of come to a comedy club expecting to laugh, and they want it to happen, which is very exciting. And they don't need you to be famous in order to make them laugh. So
it's the best.
That's the best.
Yeah. And you can also get the reps in. You can do like 6 shows a night in New York, which is so fantastic and not true in any other city I've ever been to, which is really great.
Yeah. I mean, tonight I have 5.
Holy shit.
That's a Thursday, baby. And I'm so excited. 5. No, 6. 5 or 6. I don't know. I should really check my calendar. But I do have a fair amount tonight, and I'm thrilled because that means I get paid. So
hell yeah. Do all New York shows pay now? Or have they always?
They've always paid.
That's
the clubs,
so nice.
At least. All the clubs will pay. And then sometimes they do like building sets. So if you're a newer comedian, you'll do like 5 or 10 minutes on a show where you won't get paid, but you get the stage time. And then you graduate to paid spots. And then they give you 15-minute sets and you get paid.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what made you, because I know, especially not to make it gendered, but as a female in this industry, it can be really, really, really brutal, more so than comedy is brutal already. So what made you have not only the chutzpah to decide that whilst you were in San Francisco, comedy was for you, but then also to move, 3,000 plus miles away from everything you knew?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. I did not start in San Francisco. I always loved comedy. Like in high school, I could probably recite any Dane Cook album or Dave Attell album. Skanks for the Memory. I could probably say that to you right now. No one wants that, so I won't do it. But I loved comedy albums, but I thought that you had to go to school for it. I thought you had to be an actor or a writer and then go into comedy. And I was in art, so I was a photographer. So I was doing art. I moved to New York. I went to art school. I have a master's degree in art. And then I just was like, after I finished art school, it wasn't really doing anything for me. And I was like, you know what, let's give this a try. And I went for it. And so I've been doing it 10 years in New York. Which is great because you can really make up for lost time in New York. You can really do 8 mics a night and just really bang them out. So
I totally believe that too.
A blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So did you move to New York with the intention of comedy was for you, or were you like, I just want to try a different city, or what? Why was New York the beacon?
New York was the beacon because it's kind of the, it's the only school that I got into. So
So you're
I
like, I have
applied for
to.
2 in Chicago because I thought New York was too big,
Mhm.
and then I applied for a school in New York that I was like, I'll never get into that. And it turns out I got into the one that was my shooting star, and I got X'd out of the 2 that I thought were safety. So I was
That's
like,
a really
oh,
specific
okay.
message.
Yes, exactly. It was like, get to New York right now. I was
Yeah.
like, all right. So
Okay.
I ended up going to the Pratt Institute. And I wasn't supposed to get in. I don't know how I got in, but
It's a really
but
excellent
the
school.
University of Chicago didn't want me. So I went to, yeah, exactly. Illinois. I think it was Illinois Champaign. I don't know. They did not care for my work, and that's fine. It all worked out great.
Sure did. Okay, so
Yeah.
now are you, not to get too into your finances, but I know that this is probably something I will get messaged about. Were you saddled with a debt situation and that you were still like, yeah, but I'm going to give that all up and still do comedy? Or were you a scholarship based student? Or because financially, it's very, very expensive to be in comedy and it's very, very expensive to be an artist. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I have student loans that I will die with.
Okay.
They are mine, and I love them. They're my little babies. They're the reason I'll never own a house. I'm so excited. No, it's okay. Don't cry for me. I live in New York. This is the mecca of renting and really taking advantage. So, but yeah, I have student loans. I was very lucky. My undergraduate degree, I came out with very minimal student loans. My parents saved. I went to a state school, and then they were also able to save up and pay for my undergraduate. But grad school was all me, baby, and I made up for lost time. $120,000 it cost for 2 years to go to grad school. Yes,
That's a crime.
And,
That's actually a crime.
yeah, I know. It's wild, but God bless Obama because I'm on the income-based plan. And so when you're an artist, you don't make much money, do you? So I've been paying zero for the past, I don't know, 10 years. I think the most I've ever had to pay was $132 a month, and I was able to swing that. But yeah, after 30 years, it gets forgiven. So I'm just paying what I can afford right now and just biding my time.
Just see you in 30 years, Sally Mae.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you dumb bitch. Get away from me. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And to just so that we can talk about your album a little bit. So what made you finally be like, you know what, I'm putting together an album, I'm doing it? Because it's a ton of work. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that you are now burning that material theoretically. I know you can do it on the road, sort of, but basically you're saying this is done and dusted. This hour I won't touch again. So what made you finally willing to give up that much material and then put it out in the world?
Well, it was a culmination of things. I had realized I have done a bunch of short sets. So I did 5 minutes on Colbert, 5 minutes on Corden, 7 minutes on Comedy Central, and I think 10 minutes on Don't Tell. And so all of that kind of added up to about like 40 minutes. And I was like, okay, well, it's all in separate places and I'm making no money from it. So let's all put it on one space. And it also, when you're on the road and no one knows who you are, you can do the same material because they don't know. You don't have fans, really. So it was kind of stunting my own growth. It was like, golden handcuffs, I guess, but very minimally because I'm not making any money. So it was like,
Silver
I have a
handcuffs.
killer hour, but, who's it for? So
Sure.
it was like, it's time to burn this material, start building a new hour, and stop being chicken shit and being afraid to bomb. So I started building a new hour, and it's taken, I have about 45 minutes now. So if you come see me on the road after March 8th, I should have a solid 45 to an hour that you've never heard of. And that's exciting.
Yeah,
So
that's
it was just
incredible.
time to make some money off of these jokes.
Yeah, that's a ton of work. Everything you're describing is a ton of work. I see why it said in your bio, this album is a culmination of your 10-year career. That's good job, you. That's very, very brave.
Thank you. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I bet. I'll bet.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were doing all of this comedy building, was there a moment when you decided that, because I assume we'll get into your jobs in the next section, but I assume
Sure.
there was probably you have to do the leap of faith over and above the leap of faith that was putting together your album. Was there a moment when you were like, oh no, I'm actually a comedian. Like I feel like I've hit my stride. I found my voice. I know what I'm doing.
Well, the voice thing, I'm hoping it shows up eventually. I don't know if I'll ever
You have such a
have the
strong
confidence.
voice.
I mean, if I don't know if I'll ever have the confidence to be like, this is my voice and I know this is funny. I don't think that's me. I think I am happy. I get so excited when a joke works. And I don't know why. When I started writing this new hour, I was like, how did I ever write the other jokes? When the hell did I have time to do that? And how did I do it? I remember I tried everything. I went for long walks and I brought a notepad and was just like, well, they say exercise does it. I wrote 3 pages a day. I started typing. I started talking. I did everything to try and figure out how to write this hour. And now looking back on it, I think all of those methods worked for one joke. So there's no one way to figure out how to write a new hour. You kind of got to shoot shit at the wall and hope for the best.
That's right.
But yeah, it's really tricky. But yeah, I feel like the moment where I felt confident that I was like, okay, I'm a comedian. Before the pandemic, I had quit my day job. I had quit surfing. Yes, I had quit and I was doing some art handling on the side once every other week or something like that. But I was pretty much all comedy all the time. And then we got pandemicked and I had to go back to my day job. I had to go back, which was construction. I know. So it's not even just, it's like manual labor. I went back to like hard labor. And that was devastating. But then I got past at the cellar. I got past the day they reopened, pretty much. And yeah, it was wild. And I did that for about 6 months. I was able to save up enough money. And then I realized, okay, I'm getting booked here enough that I don't need, to keep doing this job. I make more money on the road now. I got a new manager. I got an agent. And then I think I got JFL. And I was like, okay, I can quit. Okay, I'm done.
Fuck this job.
We did it. God bless. I won't be doing these installs anymore. Wow. And so now I feel like a comedian, but at the same time, I'll never have my voice. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Nebulous.
I'm jealous of the people who have it.
Yeah, well, I think you do. What I love also is, I don't want to spoil your jokes on this, but I really appreciate that you address sexuality and how some of the things you do could be perceived as like you go camping and you would be willing to help. And that could be perceived as like a gay choice or like the embodiment of what a lesbian would be. And even you being in construction, I just love that you're flipping all of these things on their head as like how they would be perceived out in the world. I love that. That's a very specific brand. So good job, you.
I feel like that was also what my main material was when I was an artist. It was growing up as a jock and still wanting to be this pretty feminine woman, but just not quite. The shoe didn't fit, the Ugg boot never went on. So I didn't understand how to do that. And so I feel like that's kind of where my comedy lies, in like me being this butch woman, but being like, but aren't I pretty? Like, I don't know.
I totally identify with that. And I've never heard, when I was hearing you say it, I was like, oh, this is so relatable. Like because you get fulfillment out of being the person that'll carry the cooler or like install drywall. But also like you want a man to, tell you what for sometimes. Like, I think that's it's a challenge, and it's a challenge to go against the type that society, this ain't about that. Yeah. I always do this. I always make it more intense than I need to, but I love that.
No, it's okay.
I love that.
I just want to be catcalled while I install your windows. That's it.
There it is. There it is. That's it. It's so relatable. My butt hurts. That's so relatable. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm so excited for your album. So everybody, we'll put all the info in the show notes. March 8th, you can get it officially, but pre-order now. You get a bunch of free stuff, surprises and whatnot. Caitlin also said before we started recording that she'll show up at your house and do like dances and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Whatever the latest TikTok trend is, I will come out and I will do it.
Amazing. Right? Amazing.
As long as it just looks like the Backstreet Boys little... If it's anything to do with that, I'll come to your house and do that. How about that?
That's on record. Okay. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed your apps. Let's move on to the entrees after a quick break. We're back. And now it's time for the entrees. Okay. What was your first job ever where the government was taking taxes out of your money?
My first job ever, I worked at a place called, I think it was My Fitness. It was like a Curves. If you remember
Oh, my
Curves,
mom is still a proud member of Curves. Hi, Mom. Hey, there's not that many left. It was the fastest growing franchise in the country. You should look up the history of Curves. It's too bad that it went under. You didn't know this was going to become a Curves pitch when you were just trying to talk about a job that wasn't Curves. But anyway, go ahead. I'm listening.
Curves is great. So we were the knockoff Curves. And my job was I played soccer. So I was a very fit teenager, very active, and I was also very outgoing. And so I was a little monster. I look back at what I had to do for that gym, and I'm surprised more women didn't punch me in the face, because I was told to go to parking lots of grocery stores, look for women who were out of shape, and go up to them and say, "Hi, would you like to enroll for a free week at our gym?"
Caitlin, that's not true. Mm-hmm. And you're looking fit as you're just pure muscle. Oh
my God. And I was young, so youthful. Oh my God, my tight, not a crow's foot in sight. And I'm out there just being like with my perky tits. "Oh, you want to come join our gym?
You look like shit." Oh my God. Would they be able to figure out why you were coming up to them specifically? Like, did they ever get offended?
Some women would just walk away. Some women would just look me in the eye and be like, "No." And I was like, fair enough. And then some women would be like, "Yeah, I love free stuff." And then they would they would put their name down to join a raffle. I had a whole pitch. I'm also very friendly. I can approach people on the street. I say hi to my neighbors, and my friend Ronan called me the Mr. Rogers of the neighborhood, because I walk. "Hi, Betty, how you doing? How's the cat?" I like to know. Anyway, so I'm sure I didn't look threatening, but if they wanted to take it the wrong way, they could have, because it was horrendous what I was doing. And then I would go back, and we would call these people. We would call, "Come on in for a free workout. Come on in," and I would have to harass these poor women who were just being nice to me in a Trader Joe's parking lot. And but some of them would come in. I had a good success rate. And then I would stand in the middle and do the weighted hula hoop while everybody did the circuit behind them.
Ma'am.
In my little crop top. I looked like a monster.
You were 92 pounds of pure muscle. Yes. You're like, "You girls are doing amazing. Keep it up." Because I don't know if you mentioned this. I apologize if I forgot it, but Curves is an all-female identifying gym. And so I don't know, since you said it's a knockoff Curves, I would assume that this gym was also an all-female identifying gym. Yeah,
yes,
which
all female, and they didn't have identifying at the time, so it was just ladies only. And
how did they do that? How does that work?
Gym, I'll tell you that.
Too hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always too hot. Everybody's going through a hot flash, and there's not enough water. It was wild. And they always wanted like Barbara Streisand to be playing. It was quite the stereotype.
That's a gym. That's a gym experience. Not a lot of T-Pain blaring through those speakers. Got it.
Yeah.
But how did
great though.
I can't figure out how they didn't get, and I've never been able to figure this out with Curves either, how there hasn't been a lawsuit of discrimination. Because can you say that an entire gender can't join your gym?
No, I don't think we had something that said ladies only, or I think we put it as a female centered, something like that. It is catered to the female form, or something like that. That's how I was supposed to pitch it, or something. It was just like, it's an all ladies, but I'm pretty sure I said it's an all ladies gym. So
girls go there, and then I'm in my crop top doing the weighted hula hoop. You're gonna hate it.
Yes. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely gonna hate it. Your husband's gonna ask to join, but you're gonna hate it.
Okay, so wait, for as athletic as you were and playing sports in school, how did you find time to also? Was this like a commission-based side gig on the weekends, or was this a certain number of days a week?
It was during the summers. So I would do that during the summers. And then I believe I started my junior year. I did it my first junior year summer. And then I would come back for like Christmas break and Easter break. I was very lucky that I didn't have to work during school in high school because I was doing student body. I was like student body vice president, and I was on a soccer team. I also had to travel for soccer. It became very, very time consuming. I had to drive an hour to go to soccer practice every day in order to go to the specific coach who helped me get into college, which I'm grateful for. But it was so I didn't have to work. That's the long story.
No, that's helpful.
Didn't have to work.
Okay,
Yeah.
so and did you
Yes.
you played soccer in undergrad, I assume?
Yeah, I played for 1 year in my undergrad, and then I discovered drinking, and
That's why I
boy, is
didn't-
it the best.
That's why I didn't play in college. I was like, I want to have fun.
And I found fun, and I had a good time. I was a red shirt for a year for UC San Diego, and then I was the last one cut on the second year. I was I made it. So close. But honestly, thank God, nothing better has ever happened to me than getting cut from that soccer team.
Nothing, not
I
once,
think
not
I'd be
now, not being on
living
TV, not living out your dreams. Nope, just getting cut from that team.
Yeah, getting cut from that team, because if I didn't get cut for that team, I would probably be coaching high school soccer back in San Bruno, because that's all I knew, you know?
Yeah.
So it made me like find a different identity.
Yeah, and
So
making enemies.
That's where I found art.
Yeah, instead of recruiting
exactly. And
enemies for the gym. That makes sense. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So doing that was great. A blessing in disguise.
For sure. So your first job, so you mentioned that you were going back to that during breaks and stuff. So when were you officially done collecting enemies for the gym? When did that job wrap for you?
That ended after I went away to college. And then when I came back during the winter and the summers, that's when I started working for my dad in his construction company. So he was cabinet refinisher. So he did all the staining and painting of cabinets for kitchens. And I was his assistant. So sometimes I would help them build the cabinets. And then I was basically a journeyman. I would go around and be an assistant to all the journeymen. So I would help build cabinets. I did a lot of sanding, a lot of staining. It was a union job. It starts at 4:30, ends at 2:30. It was buzzer in, buzzer out. You get a half hour for lunch, 15 for a break, and it was miserable.
Oh my God, you're just mainlining polyurethane and sawdust all day. Like, I don't know how, did you have headaches all the time?
Well, we had to wear masks. And thank God, looking back on it, I was like, yeah, of course I was wheezing. That's crazy. So, I remember it was not great, but we had these special masks that we were supposed to wear. Sometimes it would get so hot in there that I just wouldn't wear it. And my dad would be like, hey, you got to wear the mask. And I wouldn't sometimes. But thank God I only did it. If I did it for 5 years straight, we'd probably have a problem. But because I only did it for, I think, 3 or 4 summers and 2 winter breaks, I was fine.
Wow.
So
you also taught me.
But it paid great.
Yeah, well, union jobs. Hello. And I, honest to God, before this interview, did not know what journeyman actually meant. I had no idea that is someone that goes job to job. Is that what that means?
Journeyman is, I believe it is the guy who. There's a cabinet builder. There's a cabinet refinisher. There's something else.
Installer?
But a journeyman is basically you do it for a certain amount of time and you are officially certified to be a cabinet builder. So you've graduated from assistant to journeyman, and journeyman, I would be the assistant to the journeyman. So
that is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And
it was wild.
So did they jump you into the union? You had to, because even though it was your dad's company, are you still a member of that union? Are you a card holding member?
No, I'm no longer a member of the union. I think I was for like 3 years after I stopped, and I was paying dues and I didn't even realize it. But then I'm no longer in the union, which is a bummer because they have great health insurance.
Yeah, they do.
And then this is one thing that was fun. I got, they give you vacation pay, and I didn't know that they did that. And so for 2 years, I was doing this job, and then my mom was like, you have a bunch of vacation pay. And I was about to go on spring break, and I was like, hey, friend, do you want to go to Ireland? And she was like, yeah. And so we went to Ireland for 10 days during spring break in San Diego, which is which is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to flip those. But we went to freezing Ireland on this vacation salary. It was so great. It was awesome.
That's the best. Okay. So you do.
Thank you, Union.
Thank you, Union. So what was do you remember the name of the union? Local something? Something. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we won't shout them out. You're not a member anymore. Who cares? They're not going to find you.
My dad.
Nah, sorry. They won't find
Gary Peluffo. Great job.
Good. Now you've called him out. Is he still doing construction?
Yes. He's on his last, I think, 3 months, and then he retires.
Bless him. That's so great.
Yes.
Okay.
He's so excited. His knees are more excited.
I bet they are. Oh boy, I bet they are.
Yeah.
Talk about a skilled labor position though. My goodness. And what a skill that you're not going to need to go back to it because things will keep getting bigger for you in entertainment. But that's such a beautiful thing to just have in your back pocket, even for your own like space. Even as a renter, you're like, well, yeah, but I could hang a new cabinet if I needed to. Okay.
Exactly.
How many?
I do all the installing.
That's awesome.
At my house.
How many customer service jobs have you had total? Customer service jobs have you?
Ooh, I've had a few. And they all, they started in college. In college, I had to have a job. If my parents were going to pay for college, I had to work while I was doing it, which was fair. And I worked at the aquarium. I was a quote unquote server. So I had to make sandwiches and cookies. I worked with my friend Kirsty, and I was the bad employee. She was the good employee, and I was the bad one.
Wait, why? Why were you bad?
I ate the food. I also never checked IDs, so you could use your student card to get free food there. And it was Birch Aquarium. That's what it was. You could use your student card, and every once in a while they would bring down someone and they would have a fake card to see if you're checking to make sure that they're real cards. And I never checked because I thought that was like being a narc. So I kept getting flagged for not checking. And I was like, oops. I stand by it. Okay. Yeah. So it was, but it was cool because it was kind of by the beach. You could go into the aquarium whenever you wanted. And it was San Diego. So it was beautiful. So it was nice. It wasn't bad at all. And that was my first like customer service job. Okay. I would say.
And imagine being like steal from an aquarium food poor. Like that's a really specific level of student poverty where like, yeah, they shouldn't have stolen the meals and you should have checked. But like, imagine having to scheme and scam an aquarium to eat. Like just let them have the damn food.
It was always the sandwiches that would go bad. Like that day, I would take like 4 sandwiches and bring them home.
Good job, you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so the aquarium was next. So then did you get fired for being a bad employee or did that eventually just end?
No, I don't believe. I believe my friend was my boss. So
God bless Kirsty. She just really took care of you. Okay.
Kirsty is an angel. And to this day, she has her shit together. She has a house. She has 2 kids. She's got a great job. And I am telling dick jokes in the middle of New York City.
And on TV. Give yourself credit.
For a while, it wasn't. So for a while, I was just bouncing around making art in New York City.
Woo, woo.
And she was like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "I'm the fun one. I'm the fun one."
You're like,
You're the responsible one. I'm the fun one.
I don't need that Birch Aquarium money. I'm doing my own thing out here. Okay. Well,
exactly.
What was after the aquarium? What else was customer service?
After the aquarium, when I moved to New York, that's when I started I needed a job fast. So I was a barista at first for a place in Park Slope.
Oh, that's
run by...
That's fancy Brooklyn.
What was that?
That's fancy Brooklyn, right?
Fancy Brooklyn.
Was it fancy Brooklyn when you worked there or was it still dangerous Brooklyn?
It was fancy Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah. It was right by the park. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. It was lots of houses. Yes. It was very yuppity people. And it was it was run by 2 lesbians that were getting a divorce. And woof, that was rough. And
why on earth would that be rough? I don't understand.
I mean, and one of the women, she was Israeli, and I don't know if you've ever met an Israeli woman. They can be quite short.
What? I've never experienced that, heard that, or known that to be a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
But she was a bit abrasive, and she was also going through a divorce, so it was like times 40. So it just gradually got worse and worse and worse to the point where I was like, I gotta go. I can't do this. I'm getting yelled at.
Did you quit because of how you're being abused?
Well, I quit because it was far away from my work, and then I got offered a way better job serving.
Oh, okay.
And it was just way better money. It was at a place called the General Green, and that's where I started really developing a drinking problem.
That's honest. Okay.
Yeah, that's where it really blossomed. So
that's where it found its roots. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait. I want to before we jump onto the General Green that served you booze. The barista coffee shop in Park Slope. For people that don't know, that is a very, 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 very wealthy area of an already extremely wealthy city. Maybe not the richest borough, but Brooklyn now is doing very well for itself. So did you have a lot of people that would come in and be like, hey, Caitlin, you know how I like it. Like, you know what I want, that kind of thing? Or did you just was it like turn and get me out of here? We're in a hurry. Like what was the vibe?
It was turn and burn. That was what it was. It was more turn and burn. They tried to do brunch on the weekends, which was like, what are we doing? We're a coffee shop. What are we doing? Yeah. So I felt bad because there were only 2 cooks and they would only come in one at a time. And on the weekends, it was just one of them back there. And I was like, they were just throwing shit together, being like, take it. And then you bring it back because the eggs aren't poached well enough or something. Oh my God. And you'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm sorry, Tova.
I'm sorry, there's only one of you. That's not my fault. Take it up with one of the angry lesbians.
Yes, okay. Exactly. Tell them to stop. So
were you
neglecting this?
Yeah. Were you doing construction simultaneously, or was the coffee shop your main job at that time?
Coffee was the main job while I was
you were in school.
Grad school. I worked for the school, but my first job out of grad school was for service. Okay, I forgot about that. I worked in grad school. I was like a administrative assistant or something.
Grad school, you did admin. Okay,
yeah. I did do another job where I forgot. Shit. My first year in grad school, I was because of my construction background, I got picked to do this job where I was the assistant to the man who handled all of the arts gallery spaces and the studio spaces. And I remember I did this one art project where I got naked and I filmed people throwing water balloons full of paint at me. All right. And so there was water everywhere. And it's an old building in Brooklyn. And the water started leaking through the ceiling.
Ma'am.
And going to the residences underneath me. And I was like, oh, I forgot to get towels. And so I left, and then I was going to come back. But by the time I came back, my boss was there being like, why is there standing water in this studio? And I was like, oh, I went to go get towels. He was like, you got to have the towels first. What are you doing? And so then he had to move me to a different space in order to do this project. I was very lucky I did not get fired. But I think it's because he kind of wanted to fuck me. But
yeah.
So that's why I didn't get fired. Because I think he was like kind of being flirty with me, and he was afraid that I would complain if I got fired. So I got my job, but it wasn't great.
I have to know what your title was in order to have water balloons thrown at your naked body. Like, what did they 1099 you as?
Well, that was me being an art student.
Okay.
Just be, but I should have known better, and I did not. And yeah, it was really bad. It was
good.
Oh, it was awful.
Okay, cool.
But my job for that was just to go around to all the art spaces and spackle and paint mostly, and repair water damage
that you created, ironically.
That I created, yes. It's just
okay.
I felt so bad for the people who lived underneath me. I did so many bad art projects where I'm just hammering at 3 a.m. and they keep hitting the ceiling above me like, stop it. I'm like,
you're like, what?
It's art. I don't know. I had a 200-pound pig in there for a while.
Ma'am.
I strung it up and I slapped it. It was
Wait.
really just whoopsie daisy.
I don't know. I feel like Birch Aquarium's a whoopsie daisy. I think art projects at 3 a.m. are like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I was really doing something, and I was not. I was being bad. I was being a bad neighbor.
I hope to God you talk about the job where you had water balloons thrown at your naked body on stage. If you haven't already, at some point, I hope you work that in because it's pretty great.
I really should.
It's pretty great.
I haven't thought about it. But
It's pretty great.
it seems so normal to me at the time.
No, I'm going to go with no, not normal at all.
Yeah.
First, I've done a lot of these interviews. First time anyone's ever said that version of a sentence really before to me. It's good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you win.
Thank you.
You win the
My
whole
heart is
podcast.
filled with pride.
It should be. Okay, so I want to jump to the General Green. So the General Green was a restaurant that really accelerated the booze for you. What was it just like time of life culture of the job? Because in restaurants, I worked at a comedy club, you can get real into drugs and alcohol if you want to. And it's pretty easy. They just be handing that stuff out like it's a lollipop. So what was it that made that job do that for you?
Well, it was, I worked during the days, usually between like 8 and 4. That was my shift. And then after that, it was happy hour. So, and you got a shift drink.
Of course.
And depending on who the chef was, I saw a few chefs go through that place.
What?
But there was one chef. Yeah.
They drink too?
There was one chef. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. There was one chef that really, he was a prize fighter, I would say. And yeah. So we would just drink a ton. I eventually moved up to working nights as well. And so after that, we would just stay in the bar all night and just refill. Like he would just constantly refill. One time we went out partying to another bar, and then he was like, I want more to drink. Everything's closing. Let's go back to the General Green. And so we went back to the General Green. He opened up the wine cellar and he was like, grab what you want. And we all just grabbed wine and went home.
Did he have the authority to do that? No.
He got fired. He got fired. There's no way.
No. On no planet did he have the right to do that.
No, the General Green does not exist anymore, and I blame him.
He handed out the wine supply. They couldn't afford to keep it fucking full. Okay.
It was crazy.
Now, you are someone that is extremely fit, worked in fitness, have an athletic background. You are currently fit. How did drinking affect you being able, was it just because you were young enough that it was like, whatever, we go to the General Green till 5 a.m. and then I'm up at 7 at the gym because I'm so committed? Or did that like fall out of your life at that time too?
That fell out of my life and I became a husky girl. The times that I was drinking, I was still very active,
Sure.
Under 30, I was still able to keep my figure under control for the most part with all the drinking. I would still work out occasionally. I stayed active. But after 30, your body changes and it decides no more. We're going to either drink or we're going to get fit. You can't do both. And so I kind of went off the deep end with the drinking, especially because I worked in another place called Mayfield, which, I love that place. That was I told myself, this place is so great. This will be the last restaurant job I will ever work because they treat their employees so well. They gave us health insurance. Like, that's how good they were. Yeah. They're Mayfield. And they're still open. Go support Mayfield. They're wonderful.
Which borough? Are they Manhattan?
Yeah, they are in Brooklyn. Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Crown Heights. Got it.
Yeah, they're wonderful people. I still talk to the owners. They're great.
Wow.
I bartended at that place. And yeah, that's when Caitlin really had a nice time. So I started fucking line cooks.
Yes, that's if that ain't rock bottom, we don't know what is. No offense, line cooks, but
yeah, I love a line cook. They're fun.
They're very fun.
They know how to party.
They sure do.
And they're sweet boys, very sensitive boys, and not a bad egg in that place.
Not one line cook is terrible.
Not one. No, they're great I love them. Big fan.
Very fun. Very fun.
But that place was great, working at Mayfield. But yeah, that's when I slowly started packing on the pounds. I think my biggest I ever was 190. And then I stopped drinking about a year ago.
Good for you.
And I drink, thank you. And now I am 153. So that's how much I drink.
Wow. And that's the only thing you changed?
No. I started working out a ton and
Oh.
I started boxing and stuff so I went back to my athletic roots. I would say.
Yeah, your arms are jacked.
And I started dieting. I did all the things. But I remember I cut out drinking for 2 months and I lost 20 pounds. So it wasn't just,
Holy.
I really developed a habit there.
It was a bit of a time. It was a bit of a time.
Yes.
Have you still cut booze out, or is that like you do it only occasionally?
Occasionally. I had a glass of wine last night. Because I'm counting calories.
I was gonna. That's what I figured. With boxing, y'all are crazy.
Oh yeah. My trainer / nutritionist is a boxer, and so we're doing it her way. And the way that she did it just clicked, and my body really reacted to it. I think it's because I used to be such an athlete that my body was like, "Yes, protein. Here we go." Deep down, my whole core is Joe Rogan. That's all it is. It's just that's how my body reacted. Just protein, So.
Oh no! Don't put the roids in your arm. Not on camera. Don't do that later.
Yeah, I know. My body wants it, but it was crazy. As soon as I started eating high protein, low calorie, I just lost so much weight so quickly. And that's not to say that I'm not working out a ton. I do work out like an hour a day, 6 days a week. And
damn,
I know but it's become like an obsession. Once it starts working, you're like,
that's the problem.
Okay, well, what am I going to stop? Come on, let's see how far we can take this train.
How insane can we get? Let's try.
Yeah, let's get addicted to something else. Here we go. It was booze, but now it's the Peloton, and here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
But
so was it?
Yeah. But I still drink. occasionally.
But was the
Mayfield? Once a week,
good for you. That's so to go from that being a huge part of your lifestyle to that little is impressive as hell. Especially in a culture that New York, boy, if you want to drink, New York and Chicago are the cities for you were deciding between two pretty big drinking cities. So
I was destined to get sober.
Yeah, you were. Good for you. So you worked at Mayfield, and when you were at Mayfield, was that also, were you simultaneously, because if you're bartending at night, I don't know how it's possible to hit mics unless there's mics at probably 2 a.m., I would assume, in New York, because it's New York. But
what I would do, this is why I love these guys. They're so great. They really helped me. They worked with me. So they would give me good nights. So I only had to work 3 nights a week or 2 nights a week and then do brunch. Yeah. And so it was the rest of the nights I was able to go do mics. And I started comedy while I was at that restaurant. And they were very sweet. They would come to my shows.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. The owner, he reached out. He was like, me and my friend, we want to come to a show. When are you going to be at the Cellar? So I'd sent them all my spots and they came, he's come and we've had drinks after. He's great. Love him to pieces.
I love that a lot.
Yeah, they're very supportive. So they helped me a lot. And so I was able to do 20 to 30 mics a week when I started because I was only working 2 or 3 nights a week. So I would do 5 or 6 mics when I had my nights off. And
you get good so fast. Oh, you get good so fast. And then you just do.
Once I started working brunches, I would have Saturday nights off or Friday nights off, and I would be able to do shows those nights.
Good for you, girl. That's incredible. Yeah. That's a dedication.
They were so sweet.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I was also working and then sometimes during the days when I had my nights off during the days, I would work at the art gallery, which is where I was doing construction. So I basically had 3 jobs.
Wow.
And then on top of that, Airbnb being my apartment, it was a new level of poor. 4 jobs, sleeping on couches. It was wild. Yeah.
But that's when you know that your drug of choice is actually comedy, because you were doing, by all means necessary, you were getting it done. So that's really impressive. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
So Mayfield was your last technically customer service position. I argue this on the show all the time. I say I think comedy is customer service, but I know people go back and forth on it. You think it is. I do too. I really, yeah, because the audience is your customer.
Customer service. Yeah, I think it's customer service until you have your own audience.
That. When you have to earn it for a long while. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So
until people are coming specifically to see you and what you have to say, it's customer service.
This is so real. Okay, so of the customer service jobs you've listed, which was your favorite of those? Don't count comedy.
I would say Mayfield was my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It was so fun. I fell in love with a few people there. You know, I had big life things happen. I got Colbert while I was at Mayfield, and they had a sister restaurant named Chilo's, and so they invited my whole family to come after, and we all had drinks and tacos at Chilo's.
Come on!
And they paid for the whole thing. I mean, they're really wonderful people.
I'm moving to New York and working for Mayfield right now. That is so incredible. Like, that doesn't exist. That's lovely. Okay.
Yeah, they're really great. And I loved working for them. And I still I have really good friends that I met at that restaurant. So,
well, you're in love with several line cooks.
Yes. I mean, shout out to Max and Ivan. Love you both. I think of you often. They're very sweet boys. But yeah, I just had a lot of life milestones. I got out of a bad relationship, you know, and then you get into a good relationships and then bow to that one. You know, it's just a lot of figuring myself out at that restaurant and living in that neighborhood. And so I love that place. Yeah.
Well, Max and Ivan helped you get over that.
I didn't realize I liked it so much.
Yeah, you did.
Jesus Christ, I should move back.
No, we don't look back. We move forward. Let them come to your shows. You're still in touch with them.
Okay. Thank you, Oprah.
Okay. Now, of all of those customer service jobs, again, minus comedy, which was your least favorite?
Oh, the barista.
Yeah, had to be. Ooh. Had to be.
Yeah.
Would they fight or would they come in together on shifts and fight in front of y'all?
Occasionally, but usually they would storm in, be in terrible moods one at a time, and then yell at us. And then they would want it done a certain way. And then the other one would come in and want it done a different way.
Kill me now.
Yes, it was awful.
No.
It was so bad.
That's miserable.
And yeah, it was. And then it was also kind of far away. So it took me a half hour to get there. And you had to be there by 6 a.m.
Nope.
So it was waking up at 5 a.m. to take the train down to be there by 6.
To watch them fight and dissolve the business? No thanks. And have one cook on brunch? I'm all set. Okay, I get that.
Yes.
What is the weirdest thing you've been asked to do whilst you were on the clock at any of these jobs?
Weirdest thing I've ever been asked to do.
And you can't count the balloons. You can't. That doesn't count because you were volunteering that as an artiste. So no balloons thrown at your body.
For art handling, there was always something weird. We're always putting up some weird piece that just didn't make any sense. But they're like, it's art. And it's like, does it have to be granite? It doesn't have to be granite. Okay. We're just
for neophytes. Oh, sorry. Can you explain for art? Because I don't think that everybody has gallery world experience. Can you explain what art handler actually is?
Yeah. So an art handler, you work for the gallery or the museum. I've done both. Museum, way better. Gallery, rough. But you're basically a freelance. You show up once every 3 weeks to change over the exhibits. So what that entails is hanging up paintings, installing sculptures. A lot of times you have to build the wall in order for the painting to live on. You have to spackle, paint, stuff like that. It's like basic maintenance, but when you work for a museum, it's a lot more building, which I enjoyed because it was more challenging than just throwing up a painting and the curator coming and being like, they're all too high, bring them all an inch down. And then you have to rehang all 20 paintings 1 inch lower.
No.
And then she comes in, I don't know. It's like, God damn it, woman. Oh, that has happened to me on more than one occasion.
I'm guessing.
And then they're like, I think it would really just feel better if this wall was black. It's like, okay.
Okay.
Right. We'll paint the wall black. You paint it black. They come in. Actually, fuck you. So it was, galleries are miserable. But I would say I worked for Poster House, which is a museum in Manhattan, and they were great. Also, so the boss was my friend, and he was chill as hell. He was cool. And I went to grad school with him, which is how I got the job. I worked in art handling for 10 plus years. I never once wrote a resume because I was
word of
just
mouth
recommended from artist to artist to artist. And a lot of places were like, well, we have a girl art handler. And it made them feel progressive. So I would get the job that way. And then some galleries were like, absolutely no women. And so I would only work when the gallery owner was out of town. And that's when I would come in and work because my friend was the registrar and she liked me. And so she would hire me to work. It was crazy.
God bless. Okay.
Yeah. It's a wild world, but it is construction because you're literally building the walls and the installations. Like when you go to like the Museum of Ice Cream, I guess that is
it's a real thing.
When you go to the Museum of Ice Cream, someone has to build your Instagram story that you're taking pictures in, and that would be my job. I would build, the ledge that you would jump off of to jump into a pile of sprinkles. That's what I would do. So.
And it has to be up to code and all of that because those selfie museums, people really are interacting with the world. So did you ever get hired to go into someone's home and handle the art and hang it in their homes?
Oh, yeah. That was the best because you got to see how the other half lived.
I was going to say.
And first off, a lot of these places, you go and they don't let you use the front entrance. You're not allowed to walk through the front door. You have to go through the side door. Yeah, there's a back elevator just for service people. And the elevators are much smaller. And you have to carry these huge paintings and then get inside. And then you have to put on booties or take off your shoes. And then you have to be at the whim of whatever person is there to hang this piece. And so it is crazy. And then you go into these, as a person who loves HGTV, wealth does not buy you taste. I'll tell you what. Okay.
Boy, that's so true.
Horrific taste. Like you have a Matisse on your wall and your kitchen is from IKEA. What are we doing here? This is insane. God. But then you go to some buildings and you're like, wow, this is how you do it. Okay, I don't belong here. Don't touch anything. Don't make eye contact. It's crazy.
So would you get tipped when you were walking into these homes? Would they hand you money for doing the hanging or was it not like that?
Sometimes. It just depends.
What was the best tip?
Depends on the person.
Do you ever remember getting a really fat one?
Sometimes they'll tip us 50 each if we're in and out, maybe 100. But
that's not enough money for what you're doing. That's an insanely hard job.
Yeah, but we would still get paid. Like
So you were getting paid to do.
Yeah, by the gallery, we would get paid like $30 or $40 an hour to do something that for us is very easy. You literally hang it on the wall. You just have to deal with the people. That's the hardest part. Is dealing with.
That's always the hardest part, girl. Yes.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay.
Putting it on the wall, that's the easy part.
Yep.
Drilling and screwing, finding the stud, that's so easy. It is literally dealing with someone's grandma who is like, I don't know. I think it's too high. Can I touch it? No.
It's fine art, ma'am.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, you may not. Okay. Was there ever an incident where they asked to speak to your manager at any of these jobs?
No.
Yeah, you seem not that way. Okay.
No, because we kind of look scary. Art handlers look a little intimidating because we have tool belts and we're wearing overalls and we look rugged and it's they also don't want to seem like assholes.
Yeah. You also know where they live, so
exactly. Yeah. So no one was ever overtly mean to us. It was, and then they were always pretty happy
with the end result.
As long as the piece didn't come damaged, no one cared.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a racket, this art business.
Well, it sure is. The emperor has no clothes.
Podcast.
Yeah, sure is. Sure is. Was there ever an incident where they wanted to speak to your manager at any of the jobs that you've had? So like Birch Aquarium, Mayfield, the Green, General Green, any of those?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
There was one time when there was one time I was at Mayfield, and one thing about New York restaurants is there's everywhere has mice, everywhere has cockroaches,
Facts.
and or water bugs.
Oh,
I forget,
God.
one's flies and one don't. And
Cockroaches
so-
can fly.
Yeah. Okay. So then it was a water bug but it looks like a cockroach. And the Mayfield was very clean. They never didn't pass an inspection. They didn't have an infestation, nothing. But in the summertime, if you open the front door, they could fly in. And that's what happened once. One time it flew in, and I was taking the order from this couple, and it was two women. One woman was presenting very feminine, and one was presenting very butch. And the water bug flew onto the very feminine woman's shoulder. And the butch
Lost her mind.
lesbian stood up and squealed so loud. She starts hitting her date with a napkin, just slapping her in the face, just and standing and screaming. And then I see the water bug, and it flies against the wall, and I grab her napkin and I just bam, and I hit it against the wall, and I smushed it, and the entire restaurant cheered. And
You're like, now I have to do
down.
comedy.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I got it. And then I ran away. But the thing about New Yorkers is they're all, or excuse me, that part of Brooklyn is they're all pretty much from New York. And so they knew what that was. They knew it was a water bug, and there's nothing you can do about it. And except for that one lesbian who shrieked her fucking face off. I was like, you're presenting as butch, but you are not. That was crazy. What an insane way to react.
You're like, get it together, lady. It's fine.
Get it together. How embarrassing. But it's like,
God.
that's more embarrassing than having the bug. But then our manager had to come over and be like, we're going to comp you guys drinks and your appetizers and your desserts. And da, da, da.
And you know what?
So,
well, you everything forever, actually. You can come here any day you want. Okay.
It was so funny. But yeah, I think that was the only time the manager got called over. But I was very pleasant.
I
was
get
never
that.
not pleasant.
So have you ever told a customer to like F off in a pleasant way, or to like, get the hell out of your restaurant? Or have you not had that experience where you've had to? Haven't had to.
No,
Okay.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah. You are lucky.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. Well, sometimes I would have to tell like my I won't say playmates. My coworkers, like if they get too drunk after hours, I have to be like, get the fuck out of here. Get out. What are you doing? Stop it. Go
home.
Get out.
Get out.
Yes, time to go home. So
Okay.
I've had to do that before, and then the next day they come into brunch and they don't remember anything, and you're like, oh, so we're still okay.
I
All right,
screamed at you
great.
for a while. I'm so glad you don't
yeah.
remember. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many bodily fluids have been on your person whilst you were on the clock? Any?
Oh God.
Bartending.
I've had puke on me.
Oh, you have for what? What
Yeah.
happened with bartending or something else? Art.
Bartending, but I think it was my puke.
Was it
I would go hard.
It
I
was
used
an
to Clopin a lot.
You
and that
Clopins
was-
are the worst. Oh God! And if you were drinking the night before, you are not going to work, so you might as well sleep at the bar.
Absolutely.
Oh God! Did you ever
It
have
was
anybody
great.
else's puke on you?
Yeah. I've had other people's puke. There was one time at Mayfield, someone, another bartender's brother was visiting, and he threw up so much in the bathroom, it went everywhere. And I come in, and the porter, his name is Wilson, and I walk into the bathroom, and he's got his shirt wrapped around his face, so only his eyes are showing, and they're watering.
So he doesn't have to smell it.
Yeah, and I came in, he goes, no, mommy, no. And I go in and I see, and I'm like, oh, you're right. I better leave.
Yes, you're right. No mommy for me. That's right. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, no, mommy. Mommy, no want. Mommy, no want.
That's fucking gross.
but
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Do you?
But yeah, nothing too crazy. It was a pretty classy joint, and whenever something unclassy happened, it was always one of us.
It was you were the arbiter of
always
the
one of the
experience.
employees.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The clientele was very nice. They
Okay.
were lovely people.
They were not barfing everywhere. Okay. Do you tip?
No. Do I tip?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I tip.
What's your average?
Why would I?
Yeah, that's a great
25.
question. That's a better 25%. And do you consider 15%? If you ever left 15, would you ever leave 15%?
I don't think I've ever left a 15. I would leave 20. I consider a 15 just doubling the tax. I feel like that is like a 15 in my opinion, because it's technically 16% and that's not enough.
The adage that we always say is like, if you've worked in the service industry, if you leave 15%, that was us stiffing you because we can't do less than 15. But if you because most of us average 25%, that's just because you worked in it, you just get it. And so most guests have said, oh, if I leave 15%, you fucked up. Like you really did it. Well, like we think we're teaching them a lesson and they're like, yeah, but I still got tipped. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, I'm more like I would just won't come back. If you're mean to me, I'm one of those. I was like, well, especially when I was drinking, if you were a bartender that was mean to me, I was like, you don't know how much I drink.
Yeah. You don't know how committed
really
to this I was.
Yeah. You really missed out on someone who is loyal as fuck. So, yeah.
You're bad. Okay. Is there ever a situation you had said your version of not tipping is just not coming back? Would you ever stiff someone? No. Okay.
No, I would never.
Okay.
Because I've had bad days. We've all had bad days.
We have. And have you ever been fired?
No, I've never been fired, but I have, because when I did art handling, you would just they would call you whenever they needed you. And I had one place just not call. But it was on me. It was my fault. And I get it. I came in hungover the first day I was supposed to work. And again, I really feel bad because the gallery owner was a woman and her assistant was a woman. And they were like, we're going to be an all-female, go us, girl power. And then I come in hungover and I do a very bad job. It's like, oh, really? Girl power, huh? You're never going to hire a woman again.
They become
my fault.
They're militantly misogynistic after that. They're like, only men. Screw that female gym. We're firing ourselves. Where are all the men?
Exactly. Just, they just become like very chauvin. Like, well, some jobs are just made for men. Naturally, they're just stronger.
They get T-shirts made like, this job's for men. I love it.
I was just so hungover. I think I was still drunk when I came in. I was so bad.
That feeling is
and
awful.
I just couldn't measure and I was having a hard time.
Not puking.
Yelling at me and I was like, I'm sorry.
This is not normal, but oof, I'm having a day.
I'm very good at this, but not today.
Not today.
Today's not my day.
Okay, and last question in this section. Who's the worst customer you've had to interact with or an archetype of who the worst customer would be?
The worst type when I was bartending, it was rich young dudes. That was awful. They would come in. They wouldn't know how to tip. Young people don't really know how to tip. They want to impress their friends and they talk down to you and it is awful. I hated that when it was, oh, daddy's money. You're using daddy's money. Yeah. Okay. And you're going to make it rain with daddy's money. I fucking hate you.
Yep.
Then every once in a while it would be some like older dudes. I remember one guy wanted to take a picture with me because they had such a good time. And then he was like, he only took
just of your chest. Good. Good. That's not predictable at all. Neat. Loving that.
And the thing is, my tits weren't even out. They were completely covered to the neck up. And I was like,
wow.
Okay.
You're also like, you could just Google boobs and you will have a plethora of options that don't involve this embarrassing exchange. Like, what is happening?
Mostly embarrassing for you.
For him.
I would never fuck you.
Yes. Oh, exclusively embarrassing for him. You were covered. Yes. That's just top to bottom. What a show he created. Okay. That is for sure. That ties with spending daddy's money. Okay. Yeah. Well, now we're going to move on to the good stuff. We hope you saved room for dessert. What was the nicest thing a customer has done for you whilst you were working?
The nicest thing, I mean, it would get very busy during brunch and happy hour. And so people who were just like waiting patiently, I would give them the deal anyway, even if I couldn't get to them, but they would just not snap at me, just waiting. That was nice. I remember loving, I was like, thank you so much. And they're like, we get it, girl. It's okay. Leaving good tips, leaving nice notes. That was always nice. I can't think of one thing in particular. But after I finished at Mayfield, I had a guy DM me who used to work at Mayfield, and he saw me on something. He saw me either on Corden or Colbert, and he DM'd me. He was like, hey, I just saw you on this. That's so wonderful. I don't know if you remember me, but we used to come into Mayfield all the time. We thought you were so nice and great. We miss having you around, but this is way better. Congratulations. Like, it was so nice. And it like swelled my heart with joy. And I responded immediately. Thank you I remember you. You have a beautiful daughter.
You write him a fucking monologue. You're like, and then you have golden hair and that hair is nice. And he's like, oh, geez, I just DM'd her. She must not get a lot of these.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't. I need this.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And what is the best tip you've ever gotten? Can you remember monetarily, like if there was ever somebody left $200 on the line, or they, slipped you I don't know, Bill faces an Abraham. That's on the penny and the dollar. No, Washington's on the dollar. Who knows?
I remember once I got $100 tip, which was nice. It was left on like $40.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice. I remember that vividly. One time I got tipped in mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of cool.
Okay.
And then, I was like, all right. And, I get tipped very well in comedy. I sell stickers, and at the end of the show, I'll do a pitch. Here's my stickers. Buy one if you want. They're donation based. So it's whatever you got in your pocket, I'll happily take whatever you want. And so it's usually $5-10. People get a sticker, and which is already what a markup. And then but then some guys will just come up and give me $100 or $50, and then I'll be like, you don't want a Jizz Raccoon sticker? And they're like, no. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you have one of the stickers with you? Can you hold it up? I want to see it.
Oh yeah, I think I do. Hold on, let me just a picture of my
your
chest.
Crotch. That was nice. Thank you for showing us that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here you can see this one.
I love it. Oh, that's so cute and fun. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, his mouth is foaming jizz.
I love how cute. How cute.
I'm an artist.
You are an artiste. Artiste. That's such a clever idea as a way to not be like, here's my Venmo at the end. Cause I get why comics do it. I totally get it. I don't mean to throw shade at that, but I really like the idea of here's a donation based thing. And you can just, if you're going to give the sticker out anyway, it's no sweat off your ass. It's like, well, if they give me nothing, oh, well, they still get a sticker. I love that idea. That's really clever.
Yeah. It's been very helpful, and mostly it has my Instagram handle on it. So follow me on Instagram.
Brilliant. What's your handle? Plug it right now. We'll do it again.
At Caitlin Peluffo. At Caitlin Peluffo. Caitlin with a C.
Caitlin with a C. All right. And then, what is the best lesson you have personally learned from working in customer service?
The best lesson: patience. You have to have a lot of patience. You also can't get too comfortable.
Yes.
Sometimes you find a good place and you stay longer than you should because they treat you well. But you have to remember, when you work in customer service, this is not the end goal. You have somewhere else you want to be, and you have to keep working to get there. Even if the money is good and the booze are free, you have to keep your eye on the prize and get out of there.
That's really good advice. Okay. And last question in this section: what's one piece of advice you would give to customers who interact with customer service workers?
Just say please and thank you.
That's it.
It's so easy because you're not making a demand. It's like, yes, we are technically working for you, but if you want to have a good meal, we're working with you. So if you want to have a great experience at this restaurant, you lead with kindness. You're just matching our kindness because we're already going to be nice to you. But if you match it, we'll go above and beyond.
We sure will. We
Please
sure
and
will.
thank yous make the world go round.
Turns out.
Oh, it's the best.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Caitlin, how can people get your album? Tell us your IG again, all the ways people can get in touch with you, see you, experience you. Tell us.
At Caitlin Peluffo on Instagram, everything. I'm on there. Please, God, follow me. And please, God, buy Dirty Bird, which is my album. It's out March 8th. You can get it on iTunes right now, and I'll give you some free tracks, which is nice. And then I'm also, if you want to follow me on YouTube, I'm going to be putting out not the full hour, but I'm going to be putting up 10 minutes at a time of it. So if you want to watch that, please follow me, subscribe to my YouTube. That's great. That's so helpful. And then come see me live at CaitlinPeluffo.com has all my dates. I'm going to be in Los Angeles and then DC coming up April and end of February and beginning of March.
Where are you going up in LA?
See me live. I'm doing Ontario Improv,
Sure.
Irvine Improv, Oxnard Levity Live, and San Diego Mic Drop.
Hell yeah. You're in with levity.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. Good for you. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're trying. I think I sold 12 tickets. So please buy some tickets.
Buy some damn tickets. Caitlin's very funny. You just learned that on this show, or if you already saw her on TV, you already know that. So go find her. Well, folks, we're going to drop your checks now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here at Service from Hell, we'd love to have you subscribe, rate, and or review the show wherever you listen. It will help us reach more people that need to be schooled on the art of being kind and will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. If you want to get in touch with us at Service from Hell directly, send us your receipts to servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. We really do always love hearing from y'all, and I promise I read all the emails. It just takes me a little while to get through them. Remember, if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Thanks, Caitlin, for being on. You were such a great guest. These were such fun stories. We really appreciate you being here. All right.
Thank you so much. This was great. So much fun, Kate. Thank you.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Good night.